help we can do to make this thing happen. I hate to make it feel like we can't make it without her, but it's almost close to that. So if you would join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Call this meeting to order January the 19th, 5 minutes after 10. Present, Donald Whitten, Charles McCann, Charles Baines, Thomas Rainey. First item of business is to approve the minutes of the January 5th meeting.
So moved.
I'll second that. We don't have a copy here. That's okay. I'll go ahead and second. I'll just get a copy of it. Thanks.
That'd be an all yes vote. Motion carried. Before we go any further, there is one item I want to request the commission to add to the agenda. It was an oversight on our part as far as getting the workers lined up for the early voting, and the deadline is here. And we made phone calls with Republicans and Democrats, and we have that to add on to the agenda. And if you could, I'd like to have a motion to change the agenda, add this item, then we'll give the names of those people a separate issue. So, motion to add an item to the agenda for early voting.
I'll make that.
We'll second.
All right, all yes, motion carries. For the next item, we'll just write it in there if you would. The Republican workers as submitted by Lisa Ramey for Hamlin, Anita Logan, McCorkle, Randy Logan, Hartz, Pauline Porter. For the Democrats as submitted by Tracy Dempsey, Tammy Roberts Hamlin, Amanda Shelton McCorkle, Cleve Baines Hartz. I'd entertain a motion to employ those people as the early voting workers.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. All yes. Motion carries. Under old business, we discussed at the last meeting some issues on the estate of James Dingus. And I know we have some people here representing the family. So at that juncture, we could wait, but I guess we should just move on. Let me just pull up Judy's letter. She did send a letter as we requested from the last meeting. And we did have some response back from that. And we do have Becky here to give us an update on that. Just for the record, Becky, you want to just tell us who you are and your position as...
Yeah, my name is Rebecca Duncan. I'm the executor of the estate of James Jr. Dingus. And do you want me to just address some of the concerns? Or
yeah, if you want to mention those as what has transpired at the time you got the letter, brought to your attention, what's up to date.
Okay. All right. Well, I went down to the Veterans Office in Huntington, and I talked to the lady that had been processing his claims from the start. I was able to talk to her, and she went over everything with me and told me that that he was paid right in August of 2010. He was paid a lump settlement of $16,000, and they paid him the difference of $1,069 for 15 months. So he was on full 100% disability, and they paid him, it was the correct amount that they paid, and then they gave me a letter stating that all the veterans has been up to date, and that there is a claim pending for $600. And I called and I talked to another veterans yesterday. They said it was still in process, but they're a backload, and it still may be a while before we get it. They said I would get a letter first and then the check.
Okay, so $600 is the only thing that's outstanding as far as veterans.
Right, yes.
Is there any other monies outstanding, anything that you know of on the estate? That was my understanding from the last meeting.
And then as far as the correct form, when I took it up there to show it to Judy, it was the correct form. She gave me a blank form and it was identical to the one that I had filled out.
Okay.
So I did have it on the correct form. And
Yeah, there's 3 items, and of course the other was the 5%, and that is within the law that permits you to go up to that. So that was the other issue that's on the letter that we sent out. Is there anyone else here that has any comments or concerns from the estate of James Dingus? The only thing that I think we need to wait on is to give adequate time to see if the $600 does arrive. And if it does, then you would have to amend the financial form to show that there's a disbursement of that money in an equitable way. So,
okay, and then just split it between.
I think right now we just leave it open until, until we find something else out. At some juncture, we may want to close it, and then it could be reopened if we see that's not going to happen here in the next 30 days. We don't hear something.
Well,
we may go ahead and
it
close.
won't be within 30 days because I know the person I talked to yesterday said it'd be at least 2 months, at least.
Well, we could close it and
Reopen.
yeah, due to an amendment of it. But we'll wait till the next meeting. If we don't hear something, we'll just have that as another agenda item to close it with that understanding.
Okay.
All right. Mr. McDowell.
Yes, sir.
Report time.
Report. Okay. I asked Ryan if he'd give you all an update of phase 4 finances.
Welcome, guys. Have you been able to lose Ryan yet?
What is it?
I don't want Rick has been able to lose you yet out there all these back roads.
I've been lost yet. Almost. I went out Parser one day and almost didn't go off the right to Stinson and kind of went up the hill and I was like, I think I need to turn around and then just kind of turned around and got back on track. Just so you guys know, this is an idea over here, the total remaining of what we have left in our budget. In that, we want to put one more system in for Lou Ellen Miller. So that 29,889 at the top there, 899, excuse me, is the amount that is allotted for her. So we really only have about 25 left in the budget to move forward with. So we're going to put one more system in with that, and then we've got 25 left to roll around with salaries, fringe, and administrative analyses. That's pretty much.
Okay.
And we've got the contract we signed it April 19th, 2011. So we've got until a month after that date before everything's supposed to be closed. So I don't see a problem with it, but you never know. We've said that before, and we found
No, it
some
doesn't
problems.
matter what the problem is.
That's right. I think at the last meeting I talked about some of our work on leaking tanks. So one of the things Ryan and I have been doing is going out and looking at some tanks. And what you've got is a case study at just one home. And what I'd like to do, if it's all right with the commission, is at the next commission meeting, the evening meeting in February, I'd like to do a PowerPoint so that we could just project some of these images and the public could see the kinds of things we're talking about. And to look at every single home that has one of these prefabricated concrete tanks that's made by Clark, and just sort of show you the problems we're running into. Just as a little background, we're on phase 3 now. When we did phase 1, we were putting in concrete septic tanks. And as we moved through phase 1, we discovered that some of these septic tanks were leaking, and eventually the county commission said no more concrete tanks in this project. So probably 3/4 of the way through phase 1, we stopped using concrete tanks. We went to heavy-duty plastic tanks. And phase 2 and phase 3 have all been heavy-duty plastic tanks. But we're finding that we've got these concrete tanks that went in, even though we checked them before they went in, and they seemed okay, and we checked them when they got there and they seemed okay, these tanks are beginning to break down. And what Brian and I have been doing, I know this sounds a little strange, and I'm sure people on the left fork who see us crawling around think we're completely crazy, but we're opening the lids of the tanks and then reaching down inside with a little camera and taking pictures of the insides of various places on the insides of the tanks. And what we're finding is that there are hunks of the concrete that are not there anymore, that are broken off. And so even though it's not like the hunk's broken off and you can see the dirt, the hunk's broken off and there's still some concrete there, but there are roots that are starting to come in. The biggest problem with it is that when you've got extra dry conditions, the septic that's inside the tank migrates outside the tank. So it gets into the ground and gets into the groundwater. When you got really wet conditions, the groundwater moves inside the tank. And so the tank has too much water in it, and so it pushes everything through before it can be properly taken care of and properly sanitized and got all the bacteria out of it. The way we discovered this was as we were taking those samples, those direct discharge samples, we were getting samples back that had really high numbers of E. coli, so we knew that something was wrong with the tank. And we finally figured out that what's wrong with it is that we've got these holes in them.
Are you going to invite the maker of the tank to be here to see this presentation?
Well, we've sent the maker of the tank a couple emails as we went through the process, saying, you know, we're finding some problems. If you've got any suggestions, we'd sure welcome them. We haven't gotten any response from him. My guess is he's probably hoping that it'll just sort of disappear. The thought was that now that we've shared this with you, we would send him a copy, see whether that gets him a little more concerned. We've talked about
Make a copy to the prosecutor.
To our prosecutor? Okay.
Right on the bottom of the list.
Okay.
Copy to the prosecutor.
And we've also talked about sharing this with DEP and DHHR, and then when we get that PowerPoint in February, actually maybe going there and showing that to them. Because that's going to look at, this just looks at the tank at Danny Clark. It's just one home. But we, at this point, we've got pictures from almost every single home.
February presentation will have several.
It'll have all 10 of the homes that have these kind of systems.
I think I would formally invite him that you're going to make this presentation, and he's welcome to come and discuss it or defend it or whatever he chooses. So in the hat before we ever do it.
Rick, but you'll have to pump that tank before you take pictures.
Well, what we're finding is if this is the tank right here, we're finding it up at the very top of the tank.
What's causing this? Some kind of chemical you use in it?
My guess is part of it is that it's poor workmanship when the tank was made. Because it seems like they're all in the same place. I don't know whether there's something the matter with the mold. The other thing we're finding, which just is, and I don't know what it's about, is that a lot of these tanks, where that hole is, there's also duct tape. Now, I don't know. I don't know whether. Well, the interesting thing is the hole's there and the duct tape's still there. So
Yeah, it's all.
I don't know if whether there were problems originally with these things, and the thought was, well, we'll just put a little duct tape and I'll take care of it. It's hard to believe if that's,
It works for me most of the time.
does it? Well, I don't know.
It could have been during the molding process to hold the mold
Right.
together.
They're pretty consistent though. I mean, the holes are almost always in the same general vicinity and area.
Who knows?
Maybe he'll have an explanation.
Maybe he'll have an explanation.
Maybe.
Yeah. So it's, what we're noticing is all at the top. So we haven't had to pump the tanks because the problems have been visible right there. I don't know what we find if we actually pump the whole tank out. Who knows? Might be somebody down there at the bottom.
So you become a septic CSI.
I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
You know, the implication, I think, is like you said, is this, all these systems, wherever they're at, is probably they're having problems like that.
We just don't know that.
we don't know that. And there are hundreds of these, not just in Lincoln County, but all over the place. So, in February, we'll bring you a dog and pony show. It may be that the manufacturer before then wants to get together and talking about this, but we'll let him know that we're going to do this in February. We'll also make sure that he understands that the prosecutor, according to the wishes of the commission, is getting a copy of this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hey, anybody gets back to what you're doing before and not wanting all this stuff.
Suggestion, Rick, was up here at the bench, was that maybe if, once you send a letter, if he happens to make contact with you and wants to talk, then we would certainly be willing to sit down and talk. Okay, next item on the agenda is anything from the Harts Community Center. I did have a conversation this week with the down at the school board concerning moving out of the buildings in Harts and what's going to happen and when it's going to happen, things like that. Just trying to bring to the attention of the school board that we make sure that the buildings out there are secure and things are taken care of. And they assured me that they would do some extra work this week, trying to get padlocks on doors and things in order to secure particularly the middle school out there. Corcoran Community Center, you gave me a report. Any remarks you want to make? He just like a good politician. You ask him to speak, you just stand up and speak.
Then met with the area residents on January 6th, explained the roles of the advisory committee and the outreach coordinator and the commission for the community center. A GED class starts tonight at 7 p.m. Selena McCoy will be teaching. The class will meet on Thursdays from 7 to 9 p.m. And a Valentine's dessert social is scheduled for Saturday, February 11th from 2 to 4 p.m. Participants may bring dessert if they'd like. Okay, the repairs on the parking lot, we've not seen any yet.
I haven't got a quote yet either.
Okay. We never seen any or saw anything. And Scott Sanders visited the center last week, and I talked to him, and he's going to try to use 2 coolers and make one out of it. That's for when we have the dinner and all that. And he called last night, and I talked to him, and he said they're going to install a light on the flagpole so we can have the flag up, coming off the building and off the ground. And he's going to bring 3 fire extinguishers for the building, and we actually need 2 more to make it. And a printer was purchased for the center use, has been stored, kept in the outreach office, so it's locked up. It's for the whole building. Any residents or anybody needs a copy, we'll do it. Share it. And also, we're looking into getting the Pepsi machine installed in the cafeteria. And the center is rented for a birthday party on the 4th of February. Tony and I fixed the water for one of those fountains. We fixed the water so it's working now. And the center wants to recognize the hard work of Sharon Sanders and her crew. They did an excellent job on cleaning the cafeteria and the kitchen.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
And I told Sharon a while ago that we're going to have a public meeting out there, and I'll just go ahead and put that in at this time. We read and make sure. Ferris might just go ahead and do that. Go ahead and give them the date and the time and what we're going to do.
On February 22nd at 6 p.m. at the Community Center in Corborough, we'll have a public meeting concerning the Hatfield McCoy Trail. Jeff Lusk, Executive Director of Hatfield McCoy, will be there to answer questions and disseminate information.
Thank you. The next item is an issue that we've talked about, and the Commission feels it's a very important thing that we just need to continue to push and work and see what we might be able to do. And if you notice when you come in out there, there's a big banner out on the front out there on the railing talking about the resolution we adopted at the last meeting about the Healthy Initiative and how wild and wonderful and healthy we're going to be. We are continuing to move forward, and on this day it says Healthy Initiative, smoke-free environment, weight loss contest, and add walking out there. Because what we're in the process of getting today around noon, we're going to have Lincoln Primary Care is going to give us some gift certificates to people that want to participate to come out to their wellness center and use the equipment, walk, whatever. And also, they're going to be here today at noon to those people that want to get into the weight loss contest. Is we're going to have somebody from a clinic come out here and officially weigh people, because I know they don't want me looking at the scale, so we'll have somebody, a technician from out there, to officially weigh people, and then 3 months from now we'll go through this again and see how we're doing. The other thing today at noon, we have the extension service, thanks to our extension people that going to prepare us a healthy meal, give us some ideas how to do that, and then they'll feed the people who have signed up. I think we got 24 or 25 already signed up and wants to participate. And then another thing we're going to do is on Friday is going to be especially Healthy Friday. And we have T-shirts for those people who have signed up to wear on Friday that has our logo on it about the healthy initiative we have. So just something to hopefully that it not only is good for the commission people who work here at the courthouse, but also as they go home and try to decide, you know, am I going to do it when I leave the work, my comrades, and when the peer pressure is not there, and then eventually it carries over. We are just habits, people that make habits of everything we do. We either do it or we don't. And so I think that each year, each time, we just need to keep working at these things, not knowing what the success rate's going to be, but knowing, I believe fully, that there will be some success. We've already seen people quit smoking that's here in the courthouse and stood by it. They just right there doing their job, not smoking. We've had people to actually losing weight. We had one come in this week and tell me, now I've already lost 5 pounds. Now they were going to weigh me today. Do I get to put that on there? So anyway, it's just good. It's good to, you know, I know that Dr. Vance runs this all the time, but there's issues associated with weight that affects people's health, whether it be heart, diabetes, or whatever those things are. You read about it. And I've been reading a lot more lately than just since we got this thing going. It's made me read in that direction. And one of the things that I didn't know, and I'm sure that it's common knowledge probably, but I didn't realize that wheat wasn't really good for anybody, according to the sources I've been reading. It's one of those things that we all like, but supposedly that wheat is not really, as the stomach is designed to digest and all that. Wheat is one of those foreign things that has a hard time doing. And one of the there's 2 or 3 officers that said, yeah, that's the way it is, but we like it and we continue to do it. But they don't recommend it. They recommend alternative things, whether it be rice or some of those other things. But it made me want to see an article that has something to do with health and things. Just made me read more and look into it and question some of the things. So I look forward to getting involved and working with the staff here and working with the clinic, trying to make our people really healthier as they go home. So we'll continue to sort of update on this, and at the end of 3 months we do have like something we're going to give to those people who qualify, and we'll talk a little bit more about it at noon today when we have the luncheon.
I just wanted to add to that, anybody participating in these plans or anything, or anybody that has any questions, I'm always available. I know once you start losing weight, you may start feeling bad, or you may wonder if you're on medicine, if you could do this versus that. And sometimes those questions come, and you really need to know the answers to them before you can go forward. So, I'm available to anyone that wants to ask, why aren't I losing weight, or, why is wheat bad for you? Why is cow's milk bad for you, by the way? But anyway, there's I think a lot of things maybe I can help if it was something that was bothering someone that was trying to lose weight, things they could get a hold of me, and I maybe could just sit down and kind of go through particular things. And it's not like I don't do it a lot anyway. So, but I do think that I can offer that free to our people, whereas they may have to, if they went somewhere, I may be able to point in the direction they need to go to help them even more.
Well, that's a very important point. One of the things that they tell you in all the literature, don't do any of this stuff until you consult with your physician. So, very important. All right. Anything else on that matter? Under new business, need to approve the bills as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, be an all yes vote. Motion carries. To approve the appointment wills and settlements as submitted by Donald C. Whitten, clerk.
So
Second.
Give a motion and second, be an all yes vote. Motion carries. To accept the notice of resignation of Matthew Breedlove as deputy sheriff as submitted by Jerry Bowman, sheriff.
So moved.
second.
Be a motion and second, be an all yes. Motion carries. To approve the drawdown request number 1 in the amount of $2,500 from the Governor's Community Participation Grant Program for the Harts Volunteer Fire Department, and project certification of completion, and give Charles S. McCann, President, authorization to sign the stated documents.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, be an all yes. Motion carries. Continue with new business. To approve the drawdown request number 2 in the amount of $363.34 from the Governor's Community Partners Participation Grant Program for the Central Lincoln County Crime Watch, and give Charles S. McCann, President, authorization to sign the thus stated documents.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second, that be an all yes vote. The motion carries. The next item is stated with Naomi Limble. We have had inquiry from 2 different sources about this issue, and it is a little bit complicated. Right before the meeting, one of the attorneys involved in this gave us a letter, and of course he was involved in the Buster Stairs estate, and then, as you probably know, we've had 4 deaths really to occur, and all kinds of issues have come up, and so what I'm going to do is ask that we, on this estate of Naomi Limble, that we continue at least until the next meeting, until we can get some of these issues resolved.
So moved.
Second.
The motion and second to continue this issue. All yes, motion carries. To approve the appointment done in vacation of the Lincoln County Commission by Donald C. Whitten, clerk.
So moved.
Second.
Be an all yes vote, motion carries. The next item is to follow up on the public hearing we had on the 12th concerning the 3 districts that we have come up with, and the precinct changes involved in those. And basically, this is to adopt the process of the precincts in these districts. And in a couple of them, we added some information that just sort of said this is what needs to happen because of the changes. And if you want to read all that, I can, or you can ask questions about how you want to do that. I'll just go ahead and read it if it's all right. To approve the precinct changes as presented at the public hearing on January the 12th, 2012, as follows. In District 1, Precinct 1, Midway Elementary. Precinct 2, Garrett's Bend Community Center. Precinct 3, McCorkle Community Center. Precinct 4, Duval Middle School. Precinct 5, Woodville Firehouse. Precinct 6, Mud River Firehouse. Any concerns on that? District 2, Precinct 7, Big Ugly Community Center. Precinct 8, Harts Pre-K 8. Precinct 9, Ranger School. Precinct 10, Guyan Valley Middle School. Precinct 3, questions on 2. Precinct 3, District 3, I'm sorry, Precinct 11. And this is the Branchland area. And if you remember in the maps, that was separate area, separate, and we felt like it, as we discussed this, Chris and I, that we need to make sure that people in the Branchland area up 4 miles realize that this is what we're talking about. And although they've made visits and all that, just further state that we'll vote at Guyan Valley Middle School. Precinct 12, which was the old Fez School, will be now at the Joy Adkins Store Building. That's Precinct 13, West Hamlin Elementary. Precinct 14, Hamlin at the Lincoln High School. The 16th Delegate District. Precinct 15, part of District 3, voting in District 1 at Duval Middle School. That's just for convenience, make it actually help people keep from having to drive into Hamlin, into this voting precinct at the high school. This includes Billy's Creek, Merritt's Creek, Sugar Tree, following Route 3 to Garrett's Bend Road, to the top of the hill. This is really Valley Fork. The Garrett's Bend Road, left side of the creek, up to Holster Road, and both sides of Holster Road. As specified in the Mets and Bounds, which includes District 16, Precinct 16, West Hamlin area, including Barrett Creek, which is part of the Delegate District 16. So just trying to put something on record, but all these different precincts, there's a booklet that has all the Mets and Bounds, and some of it is understandable, some of it's a little hard to understand until you really look at the map and compare it, but that's one of the requirements. So with that, I'd ask for a motion to approve the issues that were discussed at the January 12th, 2012 meeting on precinct changes.
So moved.
I'll second. I have a question. On the people that are in District 3 voting in District 1, when they go in to vote for their committeeman, do they have their District 3 committeeman listed? Is that the way it's, would be done?
If we haven't got to the committee thing yet, how we're going to do that, but that's what it would be. Say, let's use the example of House of Delegates. If they got a different House of Delegates, like in the Barrett Creek area, they go over to West Hamlin, they got 2 different House of Delegate representatives, then they would be voting, their number there would be for their precinct, and it would be a separate.
So it only have the ones that could vote?
Yes,
okay.
yes. And she submitted the other evening the committee breakdowns, I think she called them subcommittees of each of the districts, and basically had them just like we have now. Laurel Hill, Harts, Sheridan, Hamlin, Carroll, and I've reviewed those and looked at them, but haven't really moved forward on that. That's the way she had anticipated, and I did discuss with her afterwards about that, and we probably have some more discussion on that, but at some point we will need to make a move on that and have that in place before the 2014 election.
Yeah, and just to piggyback what Dr. Beams said, it was previously thought that if we shared a precinct with 2 different magisterial districts, that we could just have 1 precinct, and that we could just set the machine up so that as early voting, you walk in, you give your precinct number or your voter name, and it pulls up that specific ballot. but the Secretary of State's office let the county clerk's office know that if you have a precinct location that has more than one magisterial district, then that precinct will have to be broken into separate precincts, so those voters will have separate machines.
That's correct. I'll call for a vote on that. All yes, motion carries. Continuing in this same mode, felt like it, since we were changing the location, it definitely needed to be approved to actually do this, so that ask for a motion second to move the old Precinct 29 Fayette School to the Joy Adkins Store Building with the new number of Precinct 12. And that's up there in the other part too.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All yes, motion carries. Down to public comments on the agenda. April. And welcome.
Thank you. I just wanted to bring some information to the commission on a program that I've been working on for the last 3 years. It's the ATV safety program through the 4-H department with our extension office. And on behalf of the Board of Education, I've been asked to collect information from 5th grade students in the county, and I've visited all of the 6 schools that now have 5th grade classrooms at least once. I visit one classroom every semester, so it takes me 3 years to get to each classroom. And in those classrooms, we provide them with 4 full educational lessons on different specific issues that we think are important for our kids to know as far as ATV safety goes. So we develop curriculum, we try to make some games, make it fun to learn the state code, things like that. But at the same time, I also give them assessments before we start, and then I give them the same assessment when we're finished to see what they've learned and also what their habits might be. And now that I've visited every school, I've really found out some interesting information in regards to our 5th grade students. Now, mind you, these are 11, 12-year-old age students here in our county. In that 3-year time period, I got information from 244 total students. So that was my sample population total for the 3 years. 95% of our 5th grade students have been riding ATVs. At least once they've been on one riding. 95%. 54% of those were 6 years old or younger when they first started riding on one. And it was interesting, and I thought this may happen, but the data did prove out that as you come from Harts Creek to Ranger to West Hamlin, the Harts Creek area students indicated that they ride more frequently. And as you come down the Guyan across the river and on over toward Midway, that number drops off. Why that is, I'm not sure. I don't have questions that would answer that. But the data does show that the students in the Harts Creek area ride more frequently than students in other parts of the county. 105 kids out of 244, that's 43%, don't wear helmets. Now this is a self-report. This isn't where I've gone out and looked at them and taken this information myself. These are students reporting what they feel is the right answer for them, and they had a hard time with that because there's always a right or wrong answer, but not in this case. It's what applies to them. But 105 kids, 105 of our 5th grade students don't wear helmets. To me, that's a problem. That's an issue that needs to be dealt with. 54 of those, which is 22%, don't even own a helmet. Now, why that is, I didn't ask that question. It could be financial, it could be availability, it could be knowledge, education. There's many different reasons why that may be the case, but 54 of them don't even have one, have never had one. And this statistic here is the most concerning to me, and even more than the helmet. 101 students out of 244 have been involved in some kind of an accident on a four-wheeler. That's 41%. Now, the sample population to me of 244 is still a small number. So as I gather more information as we go along with this and I cooperate with the Board of Education, I would expect that number to level out just a little, and I'm not applying any kind of standard deviations or anything. These are raw data numbers. But 101 have had wrecks of some kind. And without any kind of safety education or direction or information or understanding of state code, that's luck that these kids have not been injured any worse than they've been. During the month of October, we found out that there were 40 total fatalities on ATVs in the state of West Virginia. And I'm sure most of the people here have heard of the ones that have been in Lincoln County here recently. There have been several. But 101 students in wrecks, that's luck. That's not skill, that's not knowledge necessarily. In my opinion, I would classify that as luck. But it is an opportunity to address this issue. So there's 101 kids that I can go to and educate on how to ride an ATV safely. And because of the number of kids that we have that may have that as their primary form of transportation, I think this is one of the big issues, one of the important topic issues for this county to address. And so I'm really glad that we're able to do this through the Extension Service Office. And as a part of that class, at the end of that class, once I've talked to them about not riding double passengers on an ATV, it's dangerous. Not riding on the highway with center line, it's dangerous. Not putting children on ATVs under the age of 18 without helmets, it's against the law, and it's dangerous. Once we've talked about all those kinds of things, and they've gotten the opportunity to see a helmet, put on a helmet, chest protectors, gloves, boots, hard boots that go above the ankles. Why is it important to wear long sleeves and pants? Once we've talked about all that stuff and we've played games and they've had fun with it and they're very engaged in this class, they do a safety poster, which is a part of our ribbon process. So they do a poster. We hang them in the schools so all the kids, parents can come in and see those, and they get judged, they get 4-H ribbons. And one of those posters in each class will be the overall winner for the class, and then we have an overall winner for the school. And I have consistently provided a free entry to 4-H camp to the student who has that poster. But every school I have gone to, they have asked me, can we keep the helmet? And here I am telling them they need to wear helmets, and yet I'm telling them, no, you can't keep the helmet. So I want to fix that. And so what I'm here to bring to you is, I would ask that the commission, the public at large, if there are businesses, individuals, anybody out there that you know that would be interested in sponsoring a program where I take the posters from these schools. We want to take pictures of those, blow them up into a 16 by 20 color print, and provide those to every single school in the county, both clinics, the health department, the county commission, and the Board of Education. There will be 2 posters a year from children in our own county that were selected from these group of students that would be produced and sent out to these locations. And on top of that, as an encouragement for the students to do the poster activity, instead of a negative enforcement, we want a positive enforcement. Bring in your posters, follow the rules, your name will go into a hat, we'll draw names out, and somebody's going to get to keep a helmet. So one helmet, if I can give out one, I'll give out one today. I get more sponsors, I can give out 5, I'll give out 5. But what I do want to make sure is that over that 3-year period, if I hand out 5 at Midway, I hand out 5 at Harts Creek, and I hand out 5 at Griffithsville. Every school will get equal amount of helmets handed out. Now, if I can provide a helmet to every kid, I'd do it. Unfortunately, that's not necessarily the case. But selecting them randomly out of a drawing, it makes it easier for that one child who may not be the one that excels at art or excels academically necessarily. That child still has a chance to win that helmet. And that may be the one out of those 101 students that has the accident that will need that helmet. So if that's the only thing I ever do in this job is to keep that one kid from hurting themselves or, God forbid, a fatality, then I've done my job as far as I'm concerned. But I would ask the commission to seek out those individuals, those sponsors, insurance companies, things like that, because I could go out and seek those people out myself, but I know there are people in this county that would like to sponsor that kind of thing. And so I want to encourage them to come to me, because that would be much quicker for me to do this. Tomorrow I'll be teaching the first class of a series at Hamlin. So I start back over in my rotation at each school. And in the fall, I'll be back down at Harts Creek. I've already gone down there to see them, gave me a chance to see the new school. It's beautiful. But I will be starting over in my rotation with Hamlin tomorrow with a new game that we're playing called Codemaster, where I've taken parts of the state code on ATV and turned it into a game so that they can learn for themselves what the state code says about ATV safety and what the laws and requirements are. So I appreciate the time from the commission on that.
About
Yes,
the
sir.
code requirement, when you buy an ATV, is it required to have a helmet at that juncture?
There is a portion of the state code that, based on age, parents who knew or should have known that their child is on an ATV or operating an ATV and are under the designated age can be issued a misdemeanor fine for not making sure that that child is wearing a helmet. And no two children can be on an ATV together at the same time if they're under 18 without at least one of them having a level 2 driver's license. So, and we see that a lot, and you know, the laws are in the books, and I'm not law enforcement. I don't profess to be law enforcement. That's not my job to do. I educate. But they are in the books, and you know, there are difficulties with all different kinds of laws, but they're there. And even if the laws weren't there, it's the right thing to do to make sure everybody, even children our age, children 44 years old should be wearing helmets too. It's just something that's a good role model thing to do if you can financially afford it. But an $80 helmet is a lot cheaper than an $8,000 hospital bill, or the priceless thought of never being able to replace a child once you've lost one.
$80 is a good helmet.
Well, they fall out somewhere. I would estimate between $80 and $100. And again, I'm always trying to find the best route to buy the best I can get at the cheapest price. So I do have some businesses that would work with me on that, and of course we could purchase at tax-free. And maybe if I purchase in bulk, I'd get a discount. So I'm going to try and work that out, depending on what it comes to me as far as purchases go. But you know, ideally, I would like to hand out at least one at each school, but more than that, ideally, I'd like to hand out as many as I can hand out. So,
Well, it's something, I mean, I appreciate hearing that kind of endeavor that you've done. It's certainly something that we need to think about, and maybe the insurance people we have, maybe they could want to help sponsor that, so cut down on liability.
absolutely. And anybody who wants to come out to Hamlin tomorrow at 1 o'clock at the 5th grade classrooms, I'll be out there teaching a class with them. So I'd welcome anybody who wants to come out and participate in that. Absolutely come out. We want to include as many people in the community as we possibly can in this, because it is a very important issue to Lincoln County, I think.
Ferris, you've been on the Hatfield McCoy board there. There's a lot of those guys that sell ATVs and stuff that you probably could talk to about this and do some good for there. So I know there's 3 or 4 that I can think of up the road there that probably would. I know there's people in Huntington would probably contribute to it too. But I think that in your position, that's the other thing. When they have this meeting at the corporal, if you have time, it might be good for you to kind of be able
She'll be there. Actually, April is going to attend the February 2nd board meeting with me at Library, and we do have some people on the board who are owners of motorcycle ATV suppliers, and hopefully I can get April in touch with them and with Jeff Lusk to see if there's anything Hatfield McCoy could do to help this program. I've been trying to provide April with information. She's been in different times.
That was the other thought, is some of the, you know, you might look at one of the prizes these people could get, maybe a sticker ride hat,
Exactly.
and things like that. And that would introduce the public to the system, plus it would also provide a reward for them to do the safe things we do in that.
Absolutely. And this particular educational program, by the way, is the same one that Mingo County Extension Agent Mark Witt offers. Logan County's Extension Agent is offering that. West Virginia was a part of the development of the national curriculum. Our Mingo County Agent Mark Witt was involved in that. So this is a regional activity, and we're hoping that at some point we can combine our data that we're collecting to give a very good Southern County regional idea, especially in the Hatfield-McCoy Trail area, what our 5th grade students have on their minds and how they respond and think about ATV safety. So.
And we, you know, on the Hatfield employee, we keep a record of all those accidents and everything, so you'll have an idea of what wearing protective clothing and helmets how it can help you, because we've seen that you know, along with the fact that one of the other liabilities involved is if they use alcohol and things of that nature. But we've done quite a few safety studies over the past year to see what is safe and isn't, so you can plug right into that and have that information available to you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you, April. Anyone else from the public?
Charles,
Yes.
just follow up, since April's been talking about this. I'd just like to give you an update on the Ivy Branch Trail System. I spoke with Jeffrey Lusk yesterday. He and John Faculty, the assistant director or deputy director, and John is also in charge of field operations, and that's the committee that I serve on the board, so that's where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. But they are anticipating completion of the Mercer County Trail System in April, and they have met with highways people. Our permits are all okay for the Ivy Branch Trail System. The funding is in place, and they are anticipating moving onto that site in May, early May. And if we can get a trailhead established by then, hopefully construction will be completed sometime in late September, and we will have a trail opening in late September or around the 1st of October. So.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ferris. Anyone else from the public? Okay, moving down to last item of concern, the commission. Dr. Banks, any concerns?
No, I just will echo what we were talking about with this ATV safety. I think this is going to become a thing statewide with our fatality rate and things like that. We do have to, you know, and they can do a lot of things at the state level, but I think we're doing exactly what we need to do, or April's doing exactly what we need to do and get this thing established here. And just education's the main thing. You know, you can have all the laws you want, and if without people being educated on them, the result can be that they lose their child or something of that nature. And, you know, I've been on the having witnessed some of that. I don't really think it's something anyone would ever want to go through. So I think, just as April said, if we can save one child that may have had a severe head injury by this program, then we've done well. And we know we will do better than that, because studies done show that if you educate these kids, they don't want to get hurt, they want to have fun. Sometimes they don't know what's fun and what's dangerous and things, they put themselves in trouble. I had mentioned before about working with trying to get tower service, cell service in the county. I'm presently putting together and I'm getting with Alan Holder and working on putting together the usage area as far as where we're covered, where we're not covered, where existing towers are that don't have cell coverage, that have emergency services coverage, and see if I could get some idea from him where he thinks the sites should be. And then once we get an idea of where we want those, and there are some of this has already been done, then we can approach these people about doing this. But it's a concern, especially up in the area I work in Harts. It concerns us being an area where in a catastrophe or crisis we'd be trying to handle people coming in and out there, and we don't even have cell service there. So it's a safety issue, and that's the way this commission, I think, wants to pursue this is as a safety issue. It's not a matter of convenience. It's what's right for the people. That's all.
Okay, Mr. Raymond.
Yeah, just to also talk about what April mentioned with the ATV safety. When she and I talked about this about a week ago, I pointed her in the direction of Hatfield and McCoy. I think that with our new junior senator, Art Kirkendall, and him also being the chairman of the Hatfield and McCoy board, would be a perfect person to help champion this for our district and help us to draw as much attention and maybe even some state dollars to take care of some of the helmet purchases we would be able to make for the students. On January the 10th, I attended the Lincoln County EDA meeting as one of their members, and we welcomed Evelyn Cartwright as the newest member of the board. Still crossing our fingers that we can welcome Patty Robinson sometime soon. But at that meeting, we had election of officers, and we decided that the officers in place have done a great job and put the same officers back in the same positions. And we also approved a contract with Frontier Communication to take their services on to the industrial park property up to the 911 center, and that would be able to offer the 911 center not only Armstrong, but they would have the competing venture of Frontier. And if anything would ever happen with Armstrong, the Frontier Communication will be right there on the premises, so they could get hooked up to that service immediately. On the agenda was cell phone service. The EDA at the meeting decided that for us to be able to band together to let the cell phone companies know that this is not just a convenience issue, it's hindering growth, it's a safety issue, that the EDA would also send letters to the different cell phone companies and ask that they please come into the county and work with us and at the EDA and also the county commission and the school system to do what it takes to make sure we can get towers put up in the areas that currently do not have service. On the 12th of January, I attended the redistricting meeting here at the courthouse, which we talked about a moment ago in regards to the precincts. On the 14th, I had a long conversation with Delegate Greg Butcher, and our conversation was sparked by his interest in trying to figure out a way to get more volunteers in Lincoln County to step up. He has volunteered across the county at various schools. I know last year and the year before, if you would happen to go through the Griffithsville area during the morning or even afternoon, you would see Greg Butcher helping children get out of cars. And with the recent opening of the new Heart School, Greg Butcher decided to go and volunteer, flag traffic, help kids get out of cars. And based on what the staff said at the school, without his presence there and helping them direct traffic, the bottleneck would have been 1 mile at least both directions and possibly an accident. While being there, he was able to help the principal discover a new entrance and exit route to the school that would be a safer entry and exit, and also it would make the flow of traffic much easier. So he attended the local board meeting this week, and just wanted to just applaud him. And it is tough to be a volunteer and sacrifice, but it's people like Delegate Butcher and others that band together to make this a great county. On the 17th, I attended the Logan PSD meeting, and the reason I decided to attend the meeting, even though Lincoln has several PSDs that do great work, Logan PSD brings the water into the southern part of the county, and on that particular agenda, they had 4 different areas that they're looking at for Lincoln County. One was Francis Creek, and I made sure that the PSD knew that Francis Creek is for that area on the top of the commission's list and trying to make sure we acquire the funds for water. Marsh Fork, which is currently being worked on, will come down into the Piney area of Lincoln County, so those folks will get water soon. Big Hearts, we talked about, and they discussed the expansion of water through Big Hearts, which funding, some in the first stage, has already been given, and the upper Little Hearts to go from Manzanar to Trial Fork. Last thing I would just like to touch on, I know that the Lincoln Journal had reported some time ago that there was a lawsuit pending in the Francis Creek area. Citizens were banding together to sue a coal company, and I've been trying to talk to the people that's involved with that particular lawsuit to see if we could get the attorneys for that lawsuit to meet with the coal company to avoid, if possible, a nasty battle in the court system and wasted money in legal fees. It would be the ideal situation for the coal company to sit down with the people of the Francis Creek area and decide that instead of making this a nasty black eye for the coal company versus the people of that area, let's put some money aside and let's use that money to bring water into that particular area. I don't know if it's going to happen, but continue to try to make the point that, you know, if you have a class action suit and you do receive damages, it makes up somewhat for the losses you've incurred, and you could buy whatever you would like with the money, cars, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, if you still don't have public water, you defeated the purpose. So if they could band together and use that money collectively to help make that funding process more attractive, so we could get the grant to make that happen, that makes more sense. And I hope their attorneys sits down with the coal company and they're able to work that issue out. That's all I have.
Thank you. The only meeting I attended this past session since the last was the EMS services, and basically, other than the routine operation agenda, but we did decide it was time to do a study of their services out there, what we might need to do, how we may need to restructure. It's been like 10 years since they have looked at themselves. So they're in that, they agreed to do that and to get into the process of asking each of them to say, what is your job? What are you doing with your time and how you spend it? And then the directors are going to look at all that and then decide, do we need to change the way we do things? Do we need to keep it like it is? And we suspect that we need to change and upgrade because regulations have gotten much more involved as far as requiring more education, more training. So we just are concerned that maybe we're leaving ourselves open if we don't look at ourselves and say, what can we do to improve? And that's the job that the board is looking at, and trying to see what we might need to do as a board to change things out there. The only other item I have down is at the next meeting, hopefully we'll have some discussion about the issue I mentioned at the last meeting about how we might go about the process of having drug testing to take place with the employees and elected officials, with maybe the services that are now going on with the community service program, where we are doing drug testing there, but we'll try to have something to discuss more on that at the next meeting.
I just have one other thing to add. I forgot. The people of Ranger Bottom and Friar Ridge, I wanted to thank the committee and bring some big up PSD for establishing the priorities for them in the next coming year.
Very much needed.
Yes.
Anything else?
I have a question.
Yes.
I don't get to attend a lot of meetings, but I haven't heard it discuss the water project going through Alcohol, Mud River.
Yeah, that's the, Mike shared, that's our #1 project for Lincoln PSD, and that was in our goals last meeting. That will be the #1 project for Lincoln PSD. Is that correct, Mike? And second would be the Lower Mud River. It's a major project. We're going to try to do some add-ons, but those are, the main one is the Alcohol Woodville. Matter of fact, they've already submitted a budget that is sufficient to make the project happen. They just get the pieces to come together.
Within the next few weeks, we'll do a small extension over toward Alcohol Woodville, probably at least up to the top of the mountain, with the remainder of the funds from out there.
Right.
Okay, straight forward.
Up through Snowden.
Snowden. I didn't know where it stopped and when it would start.
Well, the major project is going to be a while, but now this project is going to start soon, and the extension. Of course, we have another project I talked with Boone County on the other day, going into Cameo, and they are still saying that project's alive, but basically, I think Mike talked with them too, but the Region 3 people are saying they haven't given up on it. We thought they had, but they have not, which would take us up to Laurel Fork and then go down into Cameo and that area, which might get water into your guys' area.
Actually, I spoke to Boone County PSD yesterday. Had some exciting ideas.
Still moving though.
Yes.
That's good.
I know it won't affect us because we live, as you might say, off the beaten path, but the Mud River Water Department, Mud River Fire Department is what.
Yeah, and it'll make everybody's, even though you don't get the water, it'll help rates of our fire insurance. Yeah, it'll help big time, plus the health
But
issue.
it's not going to go off like Boulder Road and that fork.
We're glad to see you back, more ways than one. They're tired of me trying to do this agenda. I'm not sure, I do have a map down in the office, I'm not sure where it goes exactly. I'm afraid to say, because somebody said, well, you said this, but I do have a map that the engineers have prepared, and I'd be glad to show that to you after the meeting. But I'm not sure all the area. Mike may know exactly.
I'll have a complete map tomorrow on everything that's more in detail. Don't want to story to you right now, so.
Yeah, I'm not, part of the project has to be done over on the Woodsville Alcohol, and part of the project has to be on the other side of the mountain, because that's where we got the money from the coal company. So I'm not sure what they have in mind, but they're designing it, probably already got it designed, I suspect. Anything else? April?
In reference to your EMS meeting, I haven't brought this to the commission, but every year, Trish Watson, the director for EMS, takes a group of her people to our 4-H camp with us.
I see now. I got to figure out how to stop this tape flipping over.
They just have to stop the meeting.
Yeah.
Now tape.
I wonder if I even heard her say it. All right, we're back on the air.
In reference to the EMS meeting that you had, Trish Watson, the director for EMS, every year takes a portion of her staff to 4-H camp with us in Wyoming County. And she has done a phenomenal job. I can't even begin to let you know how important and how valuable it is for us to have her participate in our camp activities here in the county. Because I do get a lot of phone calls from those first-time parents who have those 9-year-old children that are going to attend camp for the first time. And they've never been away from home, some of them, even overnight or possibly just one night. Now they're looking at a whole week that they're going to be away from their child. And so they have a lot of concerns. And one of those concerns, obviously, is the safety issues. And it really makes things much better and much easier for me to assure that parent that your child will be taken care of at our camp, because what I can tell them is your child in our camp will receive emergent care if they need it much quicker than they ever would at even your own home. And so will mine, because she'll be there with her staff. And she is very dedicated to that, to helping us with that program. And she's just gone out of her way to make sure we have paramedics and staff there at that camp. So I just think she's doing a great job out there, and anything that I can do to support her and her efforts for that, I'd love to do it.
Well, and that's good you mentioned that, because really the board would appreciate hearing from anyone that has any thoughts or way that EMS could continue to function as is or improve, because that's what we're fixing to do is in the next couple of months do a study and come up with some new guidelines. So appreciate hearing that. Anything else? Hearing nothing, entertain it. Oh, hey Bill.
Hi. I just wanted to invite you guys to our first Lincoln County All-Star game Friday night at 5:40. That's the 3rd grade team, and then every hour afterwards for 4 hours we'll have a game. This week it's at the middle school. Otherwise it'll be at the high school. We appreciate your help and want to let you know that it is the reality now. We have kids from Duval, Hamlin, and Guy Valley on the same teams. And we had our tournament this past weekend, and everything went real well. So please come out. We thank you for your support.
Hey, good to see you. Thank you.
And one last thing, I would like to remind the public that you can still file to run for office. Several people have filed, and my hat goes off to anyone that would file to run for office. I applaud those that have put their names on the board, because it's not an easy thing to step up and to take the scrutiny of the public and to be involved in politics at a local or national level. A lot of times that the issues, they don't stick to what's in the best interest of the constituents. It gets into some personal negative nonsense, but I think we have a lot of good candidates so far, and I look forward to more people filing.
He must be watching the Republican race.
All right. Entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting
So
at 11:15. And motion second. Oh, yes.